Not sure what to do when you feel lonely in a relationship or marriage? By the end of this video, you will know a simple cure that will get you out of feeling lonely fast so that you never feel empty in a relationship again. My name is Rosanna and I teach people to align with the greatest version of themselves so they can live their true life purpose and the difference between manifesting and co-creating. So if this resonates with you, why not subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell so you always know when I've got another video coming every Friday. Through the path of divine grace, I teach people like you all the secrets of living as a divine human on this earth so you can co-create your personal paradise, and that means being happy in love too. This mindset shift is exactly what I teach my clients so they can move from loneliness and relationship unhappiness to finally being truly met in love. As a multidimensional success coach, I watch people have breakthrough after breakthrough as they master becoming co-creators of their reality and living in alignment with their higher self. Okay, so the first point is, look at this from a point of view where it's not them, it's you. Now I know this is harsh, but in any relationship unhappiness or loneliness, what is happening is there is a vibrational match for the thing you don't want rather than the thing that you do want. So it's important to recognize that everything is energy. We vibrate with a frequency of energy that other people pick up on. Think about it. When someone around you is happy, that lifts you up. When someone around you is not happy or is sad or is depressed, that brings you down. We all know people that we love to be around. We all know people that drain us. So the question is, are you showing up in the relationship the way that you want to be met? Or are you showing up in the relationship expecting to be rejected, betrayed, abandoned, disappointed? And this leads me to the second point, which is the vibrational match bit. You really have to raise your frequency to be what you want. So that means if you want to have a fulfilling relationship, you need to feel fulfilled in yourself and not be looking for someone else to fulfill you, right? Also, it's important to know your love story. We all have an inherited love story. If you're not sure what it is, look at your parents. If you have step parents or foster parents or adopted parents, look at them too, because they'll be telling you what you grew up around thinking is normal. And whatever you grew up around thinking is normal is what you will attract into your life, because this is the story you know. Okay, so the second point to the mindset shift that's going to give you the cure that you're looking for is to ask the question, are you looking to fill a hole? I haven't spelled it wrong. This is really just to remind you that very often we are looking for someone else to complete us. We're looking for someone else to make us feel whole in ourselves. And it is actually no one else's job to do that. That is our job to do. Most of us have the model of what I would call a codependent relationship. So you have here two halves, right? And we have been buying the myth for ages that everyone has another half. Everyone has this significant other that once they meet, they're going to feel complete, their soulmate. Now we talk about twin flames, and a soulmate's not enough, it has to be a twin flame. And then they need to be in a state where we can actually unify. So we have to go through separation first. Let me simplify this for you. When you are resonating in such a way where you feel full and whole in yourself, where you know you don't need another person to feel whole in your life, where you know, sure, you might enjoy having sexual relations or going out for dinner or having nice times with other beings, but essentially you are whole in you. This is when you can truly enter into a relationship with someone or develop the relationship you have, where you are not frightened of the fact that without each other, you are not complete. This is where we move into the model of interdependency, where two wholes recognize themselves and they unify, which you could say is what marriage is meant to be. It's this unification of two whole beings, right? But if we feel like we're not whole, we're going to come back to this model and we're going to feel that if our partner isn't giving us whatever we agreed to at the start of the relationship that they would give us, the praise, the feeling good, the showering of the gifts, the constant attention, then we're going to feel empty and we're going to be feeling like we want them to change what they're doing. Now, falling in love at the start is lots of fun, right? All of the chemicals and the endorphins, everything's doing wonderful things and it feels wonderful. But it's not the other person's job to maintain it. It is in us to feel inspired, loved, plugged into life. And when we keep that enjoyment going in our own lives, our own enthusiasm, our own sense of imagination and satisfaction, it's so much easier to bring that excitement to the table. Life can easily bring us down, okay? We can go through stressful times, and when we do that, we separate ourselves from our partners instead of creating a space to be heard, to be witnessed. Because if we're not comfortable with our own vulnerabilities, we're going to find it difficult to share them with the other. And this is where this codependency thing is so important to understand, okay? Is we can only be a vibrational match to someone else that is equal to our vibrational match. And this is why the more you develop yourself, the more you seek to actually fulfill your being through discovering more of what brings you joy and fulfillment, and not making it someone else's responsibility to make you happy. The more you are going to be able to enjoy the relationship for what it can add to your life, rather than it being the main reason for your life. This really changes things. So you want to be focusing here on the idea that you are responsible for your own happiness, your partner is responsible for their own happiness, and if you stop waiting for someone else to make you happy, and you start making yourself happy with all the things you can do for yourself, then you'll be able to meet someone else who can also meet you on that level, because they're doing that for themselves. If you're not very well, if you're looking for someone else to sort you out, then they're going to be looking for the same thing. And this is why, in the long run, once the chemicals and the endorphins and everything have kind of calmed down, we end up in a place where we feel empty and lonely, because we thought that the other person would continue to make us happy. But they can only be a reflection of us at any time. So you want to look at you, all right? Okay, so the third point here in getting a simple cure active in your loneliness and your relationship unhappiness is to recognize that loneliness is really a symptom of feeling separate from source, separate from the divine, separate from God, whatever you want to call it. It's the separation from love. Now, on this planet, we're all living in a state of separation. And we've made the mistake over time of believing that the only way we can feel whole is through another. Okay, we've been taught this through eons, but what's important to remember is that source or God or love is always available to us. We have to tap into it. We have to plug into it. When we fall in love with someone else, we're falling in love with the divine in them. There's something shining in them. Usually they're in a happy space, that like something's happened in their life and they're feeling good about themselves, and that's incredibly attractive. And we get attracted to them because we like that higher vibration, right? Now, over time, what happens is we forget to keep that connection to source going, to the things that make us happy, that make us buzz and feel good, and we start looking to the other person in our lives to fulfill that, to be that for us, and it can't happen that way. If you are plugged into other people as your source of happiness, then you are always going to be dependent on them, and you are going to fear being in a state of dependence, because you know that without them you're going to feel screwed, right? You're going to feel empty. So the very thing you want is also the very thing that you reject. That's why if you plug into source, you've got a constant connection to those feelings that you want to feel with someone else. You can meditate, you can pray, you can do yoga, you can self-care with crystals. There's lots of different ways that you can plug in, including being connected to nature, that fills you up and doesn't make you dependent on the other. They are the bonus, right? They vibrate next to you and open up more because you're feeling good in you. You're not looking to them to make you feel good. So instead of plugging into others to get the energy that you want to get from source, you plug in direct. So you are no longer fearful of creating a dependency or being dependent. You can enjoy your interdependence, okay? You can even enjoy needing others because you like the feeling that you have with them, but you know you don't really need them because you can actually tap in at any point yourself. So there is this beautiful opening that allows us to be vulnerable, that allows us to feel safe in the fact that everything is transient. We can't hold on to anyone forever, but what we can do is appreciate them in their fullness as we appreciate ourselves in our fullness. And this leads me to talking a little bit about twin flames, okay? Because there's so much out there. People are like desperate to find their twin flame, thinking this is going to be what makes them happy. Well, my teacher, Susanna Kennedy of Reality Crafting Institute, taught me something very powerful about twin flames. She mentioned that our twin flames always stay non-physical, okay? So they are the counterparts to us. They are the masculine to our feminine, the feminine to our masculine, whatever you want to call it, the yin to the yang. But they don't come into physical, ever. What they do is they always stay non-physical to support us, to guide us, to help us remember why we're here. And depending on our state of vibration, they are able to then overlay their frequency, their energy into another human who is the best possible match for their energy, right? And this is the beautiful thing about love. People can come and go. Sometimes we're not meant to be with someone forever. It's a reason, season, lifetime. And also we mustn't fear death, because that's a big reason that many of us either fear committing in the first place, so we never attract someone we could commit to, or once we have committed, we then self-sabotage the relationship because we're scared of this fact that ultimately people are gonna not be there forever. We might not be, they might not be. But if you know love is eternal, and you know that you can actually enjoy love with one particular being for however long that it is, and when it's served its purpose, or it naturally comes to an end, or someone dies, you are then capable of feeling love again with another, because the love is in you. When you're falling in love with someone else, what you're doing is you're seeing a reflection of yourself. And this is why I want to say here that everyone else is a mirror. If you don't like something in someone else, look into you and how you are showing up. That goes back to that point one of the cure, right? You want to look at what you're putting out, what your expectation is. Would you want to be around you? Would you want to love you? Would you want to comfort you? Would you want to listen to you? It's very, very important to recognize that if people are pushing you away on some level, then you are pushing yourself away. If people are betraying you on some level, you are betraying yourself. If people are abandoning you on some level, you are not being true to yourself. So don't give your truth away. Don't suppress it to make someone else happy. See how others respond to you, and you will know how much you are a vibrational match for the very things that you want. Point 4 of the cure. We attract our parents in love. Okay, all right, you're obviously not going to be attracted to your mum or your dad in a physical, sexual way, but what I mean by this is we attract the patterns we grew up around. So in your relationship, if you've got a relationship at the moment, which of your parents does your partner represent the most? The relationship you had with your mother or the relationship you had with your father? Don't think that because you're heterosexual it means it's going to be the opposite parent, or because maybe you're not heterosexual and you're gay that it's going to actually be the same parent. It's important just to be aware that the patterns in the relationship dynamics will show up, and you may notice traits from one of your parents and your other parents in your partner. The main thing is, how does it make you feel? How does the relationship with your partner make you feel? What are the things that come up again and again? And if you're not in a relationship at the moment, what would you say is the commonality of what you attract again and again? Why do the relationships end? What are you attracted to in the people that come into your life? I'll give you an example. For me, my unhealed relationship with my dad meant that I kept attracting unavailable men. They were either emotionally unavailable or physically unavailable, so they lived in another country. Yeah, they were not in a position, even materially unavailable. They were struggling too much in their lives to be able to be a partner to me that could actually meet my needs as well. And in my world, I had a father that was very loving, but not present, not able to provide. And I also had a stepfather who was very able to provide materially, but was not there for me emotionally. So I tended to oscillate between these patterns. I didn't believe that I could actually have what I wanted. So you need to know what the patterns are if you want them to change. And this is why you can't blame your partner. Your partner's just a vibrational match for an unhealed story that you are now becoming aware of. And this is where it is important to heal the story, okay? Whatever is going on in your life, whatever reason you have attracted this partner for, it is for you to actually heal the story. Let me give you another example. So let's just say in your parents' life, you experienced the fact that one of your parents had to deal with the other parent being unfaithful. Now, as a child, you would have experienced this as a personal rejection, even though it wasn't against you, it was against your mother or your father, right? Now, what this actually comes down to is, as adults, if we have not healed this story, we will attract circumstances in our lives where we will either cheat or be cheated on in order to be able to understand why one of our parents could have done what they actually did to the other parent. Because from the child's perspective, we saw it as a wound that was against us. But when you actually look at it from an adult perspective, you realize it's got nothing to do with the children, it's to do with the relationship dynamic. So you really want to be aware of the unhealed stories going on before you can make a change and actually start attracting the things you really want. And that might be with your current partner, it might be happy with someone else. But until you know, you can't do anything except recreate the past. Comment below, please, and let everybody know what is the same issue that keeps coming up for you again and again in your relationships. It's really, really helpful to witness this, to put it down and let people know what you see happening again and again, whether you're with someone or you keep attracting new people. All right, so step 5 of the cure for inner loneliness and unfulfillment in relationships is to get clear on what you want. What do you want? I bet you know what you don't want, and I bet it's really easy to keep rallying off to everybody just how awful he or she is and what they don't do. What do you want though? You need to get clear on that. If you know what you want, then you can start creating it. But this is very important to then do what I call the gingerbread man. So this exercise is about you drawing the outline of a woman or a man, right? Or a space being, whatever you want to attract in your life. And to actually put the key qualities down that you want in this being. So, you know, for example, a kind and open heart, or a spiritual perspective that matches yours. Maybe it's really important to you that they have nice hands, or a touch that you like, or that they're a great kisser, or that they're well endowed, or that they've got big boobs, or whatever your thing is, it's okay. You're allowed to have what you want. You are deserving of what you want. Just remember, it's not about the outside, it's about the inside, but you want the outside to be a reflection of the inside, and that's about feeling good in you and in them as well. So get a physical representation of what you want, because then you're clear about it, and that's what creates the bridge from where you don't want to be to where you do want to be. And it's also so important to remember that you are deserving and worthy of what you want. This is what's going to help you to create the boundaries necessary to stop getting what you don't want and to start attracting what you do. So we're on step 6 of the cure. Here's the first bit. Stop focusing on the other, okay? So that means stop focusing on your partner or the lack of partner as being the problem in your life. It is not them, it is you. Remember that, that was point 1. You want to get really clear on what you want, because otherwise you are attracting what you don't want. And this is the whole thing about focusing on you, is you get clear on how you want to feel, you get clear on the things that are important to you, get clear on what your language of love is, what is important to you in the expression of love, you get clear on what you can give and what you're willing to give, and also what you would like to receive as an experience in the relationship, what matters to you. You know, some of us are really highly sexed, and sex is an important part of a relationship. Other people will value more companionship. There's no right or wrong. It's just what matters to you, and then you stop trying to make a square peg fit into a round hole, okay? You can't force someone that looks the part but isn't a vibrational match for you to be what you want them to be. That's going to make you unhappy, and it's going to make them unhappy too. So this is where that whole concept of free will is so important. Be responsible for your vibration and see what happens around you. Even people stuck in patterns that you think they'll never change actually start to change when you take the focus away from them and you start refocusing on you. If you have been used to giving a lot of energy to someone, especially if it's not very pleasant energy, and you suddenly stop taking that focus away, you focus it on yourself, they will notice it. They're like, how come they're not having a go at me all the time? How come they're not coming to me and asking me all the time what I'm doing? And they will start to respond differently, and then they're calling you into their energy and they're asking what you want to do. It's an amazing shift. Okay, the next thing is really important here is quit the blaming, all right? I can't tell you how many people I listen to who, well actually I don't anymore, but I would, who would tell me all the terrible things that their partner does and what's so bad and wrong with them. Well, the question is, why are you with them if they're so awful? Why are you telling me about how awful they are? All you're doing is energizing the very things that you don't want. So either you are working on a solution and you are supporting yourself and them to make a shift, or you are actually going to be making the problem worse because you keep focusing on it. So everything you say, you energize, all right? If you want to feel good about your partner, you need to start looking at things they do that is good. Start seeing the good. If you don't feel like you've got anything left with them, then you need an exit plan, all right? But don't stay there poisoning yourself and them when ultimately you're not being true to yourself or them about what really the problem is. And it is you as much as it is them, okay? So this is then when we establish healthy boundaries. This is very, very important. You have to be clear about what you are okay with and what you're not okay with. So if your partner speaks badly to you, then notice whether you speak badly to them. If you're like, this is a no-go zone for me, if you want to express truth, that's fine, but you express it lovingly without blame, I will listen. then you do the same. It's not okay for you to do one thing and them to do another, all right? So the boundaries that you set for yourself are going to be the ones that you are also going to need to implement in the relationship. And this is what you are prepared to put up with, what you're not prepared to put up with, what the solution is to the situations that normally you have arguments about or you fall out about. And this is also important when you're attracting new love. Like if someone is all nice to you and then they don't call you, and your boundary is if they don't call me for 3 days, they're out, then stick to it. Okay, sure, they might have fallen off a cliff, but with the exception being that's the exception to the rule, not the rule. You have to stick to your boundaries. You have to decide what is okay for you. And when you respect your boundaries, other people will respect them too. So don't go doing things that you said you weren't going to do and expect a different result. Now you know exactly what to do to change your story around love and let go of loneliness forever. But knowing what to do and how to do it are two different things. So in order to feel truly fulfilled within and a vibrational match for what you truly want, it is absolutely essential that your subconscious programming aligns with your conscious desires. This is exactly what my digital programs and my coaching work helps you to do. To get started with a free mindset shift practice that will open the doors to you feeling truly happy and fulfilled in love, follow the link below and sign up to my Star Salutation Prosperity Practice, which will literally make you a magnet for love, for money, and for anything else that you want. This is a simple yoga and tapping based practice, and there is a version to suit everybody, okay, whether you're beginners or advanced. And once you've learned it, you will literally take 5 minutes to do it daily. And if you don't know yet, I host new moon and full moon meditations live every month on my YouTube channel, where I teach you how to practice your co-creation skills in alignment with the current energies that we have in our time. Don't forget to check out my other videos next, and be sure to share it with your friends. Thank you.